Greetings everyone, this is Rockmouse.com with another retro comic review. This time we're back to Transmetropolitan, focusing on Volume 4, The New Scum. So the title of this trade, and the story arc contained within, comes from a comment made by Senator Gary Callahan in Volume 3, wherein he refers to Spider's readers as the new scum. Where we left off, Spider began covering the presidential election, which was between the Beast, the incumbent, and at the beginning of the last story, one of two opposition party candidates, either Heller, who was apparently running a campaign based largely on hate and bigotry, and Senator Gary Callahan, aka the Smiler. In the end, the Smiler got the opposition party nomination, and a high-ranking member of his campaign, Dr. Peter Severn, who Spider had actually come to rather like and largely thought of her as being the best part of Callahan's campaign, was publicly murdered. Which shot Callahan's approval ratings through the roof in the wake of Spider revealing that his running mate was, well, a clone who'd only existed for about 3 years. And so we begin the new scum. Part 1 begins with Spider walking through the city, seeing merchandise to commemorate late Dr. Severn, and also being given freebies by people he meets on the street because they like what he's doing. And Spider dictates, "We need a voice," they say. "That's all. We're sick of your hate and we don't need your pity. We need a voice. Just for us. All of us. The new scum." Spider then returns to his new apartment, thoroughly scanned, along with the items he's brought back with him, having brought food and drink for his assistant and his former assistant turned bodyguard. So he begins recording. "Moved into a new place. My worth to the word seems to rise by the week. They wanted me protected in a comfort zone. The presidential election is being fought now, sort of. President's gone to ground, doing no personal appearances, making no statements other than those required by the job, thereby forcing the candidate, goddamn Gary Callahan, to fight the campaign on his own. To fight himself. Makes sense. Callahan's sympathy rating so high since Vita Severn, his political director, was killed, that the president can't help but look bad against him. So why be anywhere near him? Let Callahan make his cups without providing a distraction. Election day is in a couple of weeks. I couldn't care less. I'm too far away. Got sucked into politics and murder and forgot about everything else. Let him lock me up in here. My mind's been to mush. Been that way for weeks. I have to write some stories while I still can. I have to. He stops recording, tosses a cigarette off the balcony before collapsing to the floor of his balcony and crying. Spider then comes back in, telling Yelena and Shannon that they're in command because he's going to go take a nap. Turns out, though, Yelena's got his credit cards. And so they decide what are they going to do first. Home shopping? Maybe hire themselves some whores. And she does mention that, she mentions that one that they ordered recently was a nightmare. Shannon going on to say, he was like, when you get really drunk and sleep with someone who you thought was hot, the next morning they're asleep on your arm and you see them sober and you'd rather chew your own arm off and escape than take the chance of making them. This does kind of hit Yelena a little bit. And she says, we gotta do, they gotta do something. It'd be a sin not to. So Shannon suggests that Yelena get on the phone so they can empty out Spider's shades. And Shannon further explains to Yelena that you've got to empty the live shades or you'll get it in the neck if he goes to take a photo and finds the memory full. Apparently, Yelena was unaware that the shades take pictures. And so Shannon has the shades to display image files and slideshow with a 5-second delay. Yeah. And discovers that, yes, Yelena and Spider had sex. Back on a column. It's like drowning in cotton wool, this life I've fallen overboard into. I don't always see it. Cotton wool gets in my eyes. I have to force myself to think properly. And when I do sharpen up, I have to fool myself that I'm doing something other than the real job. Some days I know that if I let my brain fully understand what my gut was propelling me into, I'd chuck myself out my ear. Spider then begins dictating notes on the murder of Dr. Victor Sever by the office of Senator Gary Callahan. That's where part 1 ends. Part 2 begins with yet another column. Back on the street. Just drifting through the city, wandering through its veins and arteries like an infection looking for a dodgy appendix to latch onto. Looking for stories, looking for ways to record the cone of silence before the election crunches into high gear. Take a good look at the city today before I scuttle back into my little fucking luxury hull. Spider comes upon a group of in the Church of Re-Christianity who are attempting a stoning. Let's get in there and cover the story. It just confirmed I'm not having some kind of channeled flashback to eating mushrooms with Jesus by the Sea of Galilee while watching the local lawmen work. And so the leader of the group explains their everything. They're returning to the fundamental precepts of the Christian faith in its original cultural milieu. After all, the president does favor a back-to-basics approach in all things. And he explains the particular person they're trying to stone. They're doing it to bring moral order to their communities first before taking it to the country, which includes the death penalty. Spider asks, okay, what's the death penalty for? And of course the leader says, well, I can't prefer a complete list. He goes through the list of some of the things. Homosexuality, heresy, unchastity before marriage, cursing one's parents, fogletism, women who get abortions, he will advise them to do so. Adding that stoning is the method because it's traditional, clean and holy, and cheap, of course. Furthermore, puts the law in the hands of the people. Executions should be community projects, he says, not with spectators who watch professional execution do their duty, but rather with actual participants. Find out that the would-be stoning victim, all he did was he went to a porno movie with his girlfriend. So Spider has the guy get behind him, and he draws his bowel disruptor, declaring the group of Christians to be full of shit. As he walks through, an area starts to be cordoned off around him, and he realizes exactly what it is. An information bomb about to go off. Spider then narrates, explaining he's never known such silence in the city. The hum of wearable computers, the thump and distorted music, the jabber of phones, all gone, suddenly. Eye of the storm. Basically, and the leader of the group explains that everyone there is now a technology-free zone. Informational and storage devices within the zone no longer work, including credit cards. He does apologize. Explaining that access to electronic knowledge makes these people the most privileged creatures on Earth, but it's also made them forget how to be human. Technology-free zones are based on the continuation of human-to-human interaction, talking, holding hands, telling stories, dirty jokes, that sort of thing. Being people. Spider's wholly unimpressed. And continues narration, column, whichever. They don't care. The billboards, the TV pitches every 5 minutes, the flyers and the canvassers and all that, and they don't care. They're not thinking about the election. They don't even notice. It's about going to the movies and stoning people and reinventing the street and having a quick smoke during their lunch hour. They're thinking about themselves. That's all. I let myself get locked away and sucked into this goddamn election. I let myself make friends with Vita. Look where that got us. Parasitical bastard. And look, I'm the only one who's remotely fucking interested. And look what does get their goddamn attention. In this case, an advertisement for Savage Camel Lesbian Queen. So, you can't read the full title, sadly. Stoning some poor bastard to death because his values are different from those espoused by bits of a book hacked together back in the days when you were still in danger of being eaten by dinosaurs. Some bunch of fucking students who think we don't love each other sufficiently because we've got goddamn telephones to attempt to cure it by killing a section of the street and hoping we all sit down and tell each other campfire tales. And so Spider screams out to those passerby that he hates them and that they're all killing him. Back with Yelena and Shannon. Shannon's still grappling with the fact that Spider and Yelena had sex. And asks her what it was like. She figured that it would involve a lot of coughing from Spider. He said, and she goes on to say, she always imagined he would, all the crap in his lungs being stirred up by the movement and the actual physical exercise. Big, black, moist, lumpy shit with green bits coughing out of your boobs. So, and she continues to ask, what was it like? Seriously, And going on is, did you feel him, And she further goes on to say that with Spider, you'd feel it. You don't normally feel it. You'd feel it with Spider. But this hail, as she puts it, it'd be like this hail of bird shit drenching the neck of your womb. And you'd feel all these little spiders on you. All Spider's guys on the march, millions of the bastards all jabbering and smoking, they stomped over your uterus with big fucking hobnailed sperm boots. And however, Yelena does kind of, realize, wait a second. You know, this, everything Shannon's talking about, means she's actually put thought into this. And so she says, okay, so if you've always imagined or had a theory, how much time in your brain, how much time did your brain devote to the concept of sex with Spider Jerusalem? And she kind of, I get bored easily. Spider then returns. And he's told that his editor, Royce, is basically ordering him to do an interview with the president. The Beast. By the way, the name The Beast for the president, Spider coined that name when he ran for election the first time. Also, earlier in the title, Spider did happen upon the president in a public restroom and shot him with a bowel disruptor. A bowel disruptor set to prolapse. And so we come to chapter 3. Spider arrives at Hotel Fat for his interview with the president. Puts out his cigarette on the floor, doing a little bit of damage to the gold floors. Column 6. The Hotel Fat isn't just for any rich person. It's for dumb, ugly rich people who think that entrance glass, musical air, and enough costly ogle flooring, ogle spelled with a capital AU at the beginning, chemical symbol for gold, flooring to carpet Brazil are badges of greatness, as opposed to black marks branding you for all to see as stupid, lucky, white trash assholes. Even the concierge's suit is made of sparkly gold. Spider's bowel disruptor is confiscated. He's checked for any internal weaponry, hidden arms, combat infections, and molecular engines, and then heads to the elevator. Gets searched again before going to see the president, who's not wearing pants or shoes, so he's got boxers on, but yeah. And him and Spider talk. Spider honestly wondering why would the Beast pick Spider? And he gets it. Spider isn't tame. He's the hard man of American letters, and being interviewed by the Beast gains credibilities. And admittedly, the Beast gives good advice, telling Spider never believe your own press. The Spider retorts with, one of us should believe it's something. And the Beast says, you think I don't believe in anything? Maybe it's not, I don't believe in anything you like. He also says he could have had Spider arrested for the bowel disruptor assault, though Spider points out that disruptors leave no evidence of use. But the president responds by saying, I'm the president. You think evidence has anything to do with anything? Two of them drink while talking. And Spider gets pissed off by the president actually being in a good mood. Then the president asks Spider, why'd you start calling me the Beast? And Spider explains, it's how Spider thinks of the president. A big black animal squatting in the heart of America, shitting huge steaming green turds into the country, licking its own balls, jacking off with the Constitution, shooting great boiling wads of poisoned sperm in the faces of the assholes who voted for you. He's the thing in us that votes to screw other people in the gallbladder. Lizard brain that says nothing but eat, kill, hump shit. The beast. After the president trips, though, Spider says to him that the beast traded on fear and hate and snaked his way into a place where he could make his wet dreams come true by turning America into a third world country that bleeds money and exports nothing but shit television and transplantable organs. Because he killed medical aid, created this culture of crime, and presided over America, becoming the murder capital of the world because he thought it was funny. And that's just the start of the trail. And Spider admittedly does try to use the president's tie to strangle him. But the Secret Service does come in. To pull him out. We'll get a nice, quiet execution down the hallway. Spider won't feel a thing. Unless the Secret Service man decides to unload a clip into Spider's asshole first. But the president says, let him go. Spider's little people, and well, you gotta allow little people their shot sometimes. And the president asks Spider, what is it that makes Spider hate him so much? The beast represents and encourages the worst in people. He's not interested in anything other than having the presidency, but he's also not interested in actually being a president. And once again, Spider accuses him of not believing in anything. But the beast says he explains what he believes in. Getting through the day, knowing your station, living somewhere quiet. Then Spider rips into him about sticking poor people who didn't vote for him in poisoned housing. The beast simply says, what? They want to live off my tax money? They give me shit in the polling booth and I should give them somewhere nice to live? Eat me. And he adds, life sucks. Wear a hat. Goes on to say that his job isn't to make everything beautiful. His job isn't to make living life a good time. His job is to keep the majority of people in this country alive. If 51% eat a meal tomorrow and 49% don't, he's done his job. That is the limit of what can be done. Anyone saying otherwise is a con artist. His job is just to keep things the way they are. Everyone stays the same. He does the job, he keeps the money coming. He provides the television and a few spare dollars in space for a screw or two. He says the Spider might not like that, might not think that's the way a president should behave. But that's tough. And thus the interview ends. After it's over, though, as Spider's leaving, he asks the Beast what he'll do if the Smiler wins. The Beast simply says it'll never happen. Going on to add that he'll still be president next month because he knows what a real America means. And he's got the guts to keep it afloat. Because he can do the job. Because he believes in it. And because Callahan doesn't believe in shit. Back to the column. And there you have it, reader. The Beast believes in something, perverted and filthy as it is, and the Smiler doesn't. I was so shocked I almost forgot to plant the gorilla neurotransmitter gel I'd hidden in the oil of my fingernail. And that, Mr. President, is why you've been hallucinating having sex with speed-crazed Barbara Yates suffering from irritable bowel syndrome for the last week. And now you know what it's like to have you as president. What it's like to be constantly by someone who stinks of shit. Spider Jerusalem, cheap, but not as cheap as your girlfriend. Which brings us to Chapter 4, New Streets. and get some slice of life from the city. Couple meeting up on the street and making out. A disabled homeless person being interviewed for a feed site, explaining that he lost his legs because someone had basically messed with their maker, and it ended up eating away his legs. He managed to stop. He didn't follow procedure. Because of him, the people on that block are still alive. But he's out of a job because he didn't follow procedure and let everyone die. You also see a young mother having to pawn her daughter's favorite stuffed animal so they can afford food. And then meet up with Spider, talking with Mary, the woman. She was the focus of an issue, Volume 3, I believe Volume 3, maybe it was Volume 2. But she was a woman that upon her death had been cryogenically frozen, and now she has been given a new body, a new younger body, and basically a new lease on life. And initially, things were hard to deal with. Spider's gotten her a camera, and she still goes back to Rival's hostel to watch the news, and she probably shouldn't. Apparently, Spider got her a room of her own, and like I said, he also got her a camera. He explains to her how it works, and then she decides that the first picture will be Spider admitting maybe he was wrong, that he could be wrong. As he tells her that he is on his own time investigating Dr. Severin's death. And it's going to take him a while to get all the evidence. And even then, he could be wrong about it. There's then a brief moment where we learn about types of civilizations. An idea that came along during the Kardashev and Dyson during the last century. Type 1, 2, and 3 civilizations. A Type 1 civilization has mastered its planet inside and out, is utilizing the world's entire energy potential, and also has wiped away the internal struggles of its race. Type 2 has energy needs so massive that it can only continue by physically harnessing the sun. In the Type 3 scenario, the civilization has gone galactic, extracting energy on an interstellar basis. However, all the things that humanity can do, we're still not even a Type 1. We then cut to the little girl who had to give up her favorite stuffed animal, one of the sex puppets. She's lost her mother. And she tells Spider this, and so Spider offers the help, and the little girl even hugs him. Which initially takes him by surprise, but then he returns the gesture. As the girl's mother shows back up, Spider and the girl's mom talk for a bit. Spider notices, though, that the girl's eyeing, her stuffed animal in the pawn shop. So Spider goes in and buys it for her. The issue ends with a column quote saying, "These are the new streets of this city, where the new scum try to live. You and me. And here in these streets are the things that we want. Sex and birth, votes and traits, money and guilt, television and teddy bears. But all we've actually got is each other. You decide what that means." And so we move on to part 5, New Boss. Turns out Spider is going to interview Senator Callahan. This time, Callahan's actually speaking to him, and not just something rehearsed and something rehearsed with no soul behind it. The first question Spider has is he wants Callahan's comment on his apparent purchase of a VAT-grown vice presidential candidate and the subsequent poll crash that he suffered when it went public. Alan Schacht, he's also he's a high-ranking member of the campaign as well. Him and Dr. Severn were actually about of equal footing in the campaign. He steps in saying that they had to accept him as the vice presidential candidate to get Florida. Senator Heller controlled Florida, and the people there treat him like Jesus. Tells them to set their own asses on fire, they'll say lighter or matches. Callahan then adds by saying that Florida has a big block of votes, stands tall in the Electoral College, and always goes to the Beast's party. But with Heller on Callahan's side, they get rid of that block of votes out of the Beast's hide. So that was the deal for Florida. Callahan takes free, and Callahan claims they didn't know what they were buying. Though Spider says that they knew. And goes off on him. And so Callahan says, "Alright, this is the way you want it, this is the way it'll be." He explained, as he puts, this is actually quite the long bit of dialogue from Callahan. "I was buying a clean VP candidate, not like this other, what's his name, the new VP. They've had to make a few convictions vaporize, pay off a few reliable memories. He's dirty. Free was clean, virginal, 3 years old, damn it, nothing could go wrong. Except for that fascist-ass pipe Heller being too damn arrogant to cover his slime trail." Schacht is mortified that Callahan's saying all this. Callahan says they're playing honesty with Mr. Truth and Justice here. And he asks if Spider likes the game, and, well, Spider owns the game. So, Callahan adds, here's another one. He hates people more than anything, and he's going to be president. He really needs a white cat to stroke, like a James Bond villain. He looks out our window at the city and says, "I hate you all, all you scum. I want to be president because I hate you. I want with you. I want to make you shut up and do things properly. Get through your doomed little lives quietly. I want to be president because I think I should be." I don't believe a word I'm saying. I'm making it all up. Bad president, no blowjob. He slaps himself on the wrist. Spider then asks, when precisely did Callahan decide to murder Vita Severn to boost his polling? Schacht, of course, says it's a disgusting and baseless assertion. And Spider agrees it is. Schacht goes on to say that it's obscene and Vito was a colleague and a friend. And Spider interrupts him by saying that he thinks he means to say that They didn't have her killed, not because they wouldn't kill her, because she was a colleague and a friend. Callahan says, it's odd. Vita might actually outlive all of them in a strange way. The cult that sprung up around her. He needs to just Spider do a story on him. There's about a dead young woman that gets you right there. Shack then adds, Vita was killed by a single unknown assailant who destroyed himself with a dissembler suicide pack immediately after firing. Though Spider does latch on to the fact that Shack says himself. Then asking if he dissembled himself, how the hell does Shack know that it was a he? Callahan then takes over, telling Spider that Vita really liked him. Talked about Spider a lot. All the time she could. In fact, Callahan's pretty sure she wanted to sleep with Spider. He asked Spider what Spider would have done if he had been in front of Greenbrook when Vita died. Would he have gone to her, touched her, hugged her? Apparently Callahan likes to think of that. Spider hugging Vita's body, still warm, twitching, squirting blood all over him. And he goes on, this maniacal look on his face, saying, I mean really hosing you down. Them old neck stump veins have plenty of pressure to them. Then goes on to add that Vita dying was the best that ever happened in the campaign. She's a Diana now. Stupid dead pretty girl all laid out for people to get weird over. And he's going to sort of straight into the White House on them big old dead tits of hers. He goes on to say that Alan arranged to kill him, of course. He arranges everything. And Callahan adds, that Alan thinks he doesn't hear it when he says, I am Greenbrook. And Spider explains he's been busy since Vita's death. Quiet, but busy. And sure, everyone's been watching him bang out columns, shouting up the world from his balcony, being mad at all that. And they probably think the Spider's lost it. Because they wouldn't have tried to push and bluster him into doing an interview otherwise. But all this time he's been gathering evidence. He's not about to threaten them. He's not going to say anything like, quit the race today or I'll have enough for a big sexy impeachment party just when you expect it. He's just chatting. The problem he's having, though, is why is he there? I mean, maybe this is, Shaq's idea for the good of the country, supposing it's the obvious lunatic you are. But it doesn't sound like Shaq. And he then stomps on Shaq's crotch. Maybe this is all just a big joke. Callahan makes Robertson believe he's mad and competent columnists drop by the word. Then he kicks Shaq in the face. And Spider then asks Callahan, what's the story? Callahan smiles, that smile of his, and says, here's the story. Well, here's the headline. Future president promises columnist doom. So he wanted him to know, up close and personal, when he's president, he's going to make a point of taking some special time to fuck Spider to death. Because nobody humiliates Callahan the way Spider did. No one gets away with that. He's going to have a Spider, and he's going to destroy him, just when he least expects it. And he finished up by saying, anyway, what interview? Spider points at his laptop, says, the whole talk we just did there, with Callahan saying, you have no recording of it. But Callahan explains that all recording equipment, including his computer, shades, source gas, bacterial cameras, memory infections, or sonography nanomechs, were nullified upon entry. They didn't say anything, and they were never there. And that is where Part 5 ends. Part 6, New Scum. Royce shows up at Spider's with tequila, pills, and smoking half a dozen cigarettes at once, profusely, and sweating profusely. He asks if Spider's here, and Elaine explains, kind of. The only way they were able to arrange the whole election night party was by not telling Spider they were doing it. Now that they've filled the place with people and hidden all his weapons, he's kind of stuck with it. He's sitting in a room chain smoking. And Yelena drinks a decent amount of the tequila that Royce just brought. Though Shannon tells her to slow down. And apparently, Yelena hasn't been the same since Shannon found out about what happened between Yelena and Spider. Someone shows up with a whole bunch of hand grenades. And Shannon tosses them into the room the Spider's in. Spider, meanwhile, is lamenting his not interview with Callahan. Saying he shouldn't have said a word about Vita. Not when he didn't have all the digging done. He just wanted to scare Callahan, let him know that he knew he had him. Calls himself a fuckwit amateur. And then, of course, he gets the grenades from the most recent party guests and says, "There is a God." Apparently, in the future, presidential election is done over a 2-hour block at the same time countrywide. So that basically everyone has to vote within the same 2 hours. Explained that pollsters are reporting record low turnout, with yet more people bemoaning the continued necessity to actually physically drag their carcass to a polling station to vote. And we get an argument between two people. One who thinks, we can do everything else online. Why can't we vote online? And the other person saying it's tradition. Another reporter claims that the beast has yet to emerge from the White House and has not been seen for weeks. The only sign of life is his now infamous interview with Spider Jerusalem. A piece which, despite the writer's usual hate and disgust of and with his subject, is considered to have improved his presidential's approval and empathy ratings. The challenger, Gary Callahan, has been on the streets of the city today while his family await him in California. And one of the guests of the party remarks to Royce that she's surprised that Spider never made more of the fact that Callahan's family isn't on the campaign trail with him. At all. They're permanently in California while Callahan runs himself loose all over the country. And Royce explains it's not Callahan's wife that Callahan wants. It's us. Callahan threw his wife and we're down to the week after all. We can only come for a politician once every 4 years. And Yelena and Shannon have a bit of a blow-up about what happened. And Shannon finally says, don't just refer to them as those pictures. Admit what you've done and move on. And Yelena kind of fires back by saying, Shannon's life's been empty since her boyfriend turned himself into a sneeze. And Yelena finally cries out to everyone at the party that she saw the Spider Jerusalem. Everyone stares at her, and then she says, here's another thing. I'm not Royce's niece. Royce thought that if Spider believed that him and Yelena were related, Spider would be less likely to do all the crap to her that made Shannon fuck off to a nunnery. And Jan and Elena have a laugh about it as the election results are coming in. Callahan, the Smiler, has won. And so Spider goes onto his balcony with the grenades, tosses one out and it explodes, shouting, "Scum! You useless bastards can't get anything right, can you? You against me now, is that it? That how you want it? Me against the fucking world? That's the way it's always been. Why should he worry now? Useless betraying. He gives them the truth and they do nothing, and now he's all alone." Then Shannon and Yelena come out and start throwing grenades together. Yeah, it's the new Scum as the grenades all blow up. And there's an additional column piece. Edgy Winter. In South Foulness, on the Nazareth Road, they give thanks for the day when the beatified Mostyn Gorbals pissed down the Foulness vat-grown Messiah's throat to save his life when his heart caught fire. December 25th is Drink My Urine Day in South Foulness, which is why no one ever goes there. The denizens of South Foulness now recognize each of their neighbors' urine by its distinctive tang and pressure. My name is Spider Jerusalem, and I fucking hate Christmas. Apparently it's just Spider and the cat. The column goes on. The Birmingham Street Boys shriek, "It's Christmas!" as they descend on celebrity graveyards, exhuming, chopping up, and snorting long-dead rock stars, getting good and fucked up from the rich deposits of old drugs and crystallized adrenaline in their beery, wet carcasses. It's a winter thing. Inbred spawn yell and scream and fuck each other in bedrooms and on the streets while their parents slob in front of the TV and dream of living with someone else. Church bells terrify wildlife and scare the VD scabs off old folk until Christmas gift puppies are rounded up and strapped to the offending instruments as living mufflers. By me. Spider tries calling Royce, but apparently Royce is visiting his folks. Process for their number, but apparently Royce's current assistant has a small bomb bonded to the right side of her brain. And if he gives out Royce's location and or phone number, the bomb will explode. Children spend happy daytime hours building huge elaborate snowmen in the gardens near my apartment. And so I descend from my high perch of hate in the night with a low-power remolder pen. I lay surveillance cameras to capture the reaction in the mornings when awakening children rush outside to see their snowmen survive the night. Well, and that is what he's turned them into. Which honestly gives me a fair chuckle and reminds me quite a bit of old Calvin and Hobbes strips. Apparently, though, no one really cares so much about Spider Jerusalem at Christmas time. He gets asked what his, if he has any plans for winter festivals. He says he has none. No Christmas, no Hanukkah, no. Festival of Winter Hearts, no Well Hunt, no 3 nights of hand scotch against the cold, no. No Drink My Urine Day? He explains no family, no girlfriend, no friends. No love, no hope, no point. Santa Claus is dead and Spider killed him. Implying he killed him with his balls. This is all covered on one of the feed sites, and, well... But Spider then adds that he left Santa's stinking corpse in an underground cavern where the body is, well... we'll just say assaulted by toxin affluent crazed Gila monsters every second of every day. A reporter adds that 6,000 traumatized children are taken to the hospital after a Spider Jerusalem interview. TV station claims force majeure at Jerusalem's editor is still unavailable for comment. And happier news, Drink My Urine Day attracted record crowds this year. There's another winter backup comic, Next Winters. Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever you call it, I hate it. But winter, that's different. I love winter. Here's why. My grandparents dreaded winter. Back when they were kids, winter always meant bad things. It meant another war, meant food lines and power outages, and people their age dying alone in the cold. But when I was a kid, I looked forward to it. And not just because I liked to see old people suffering. Because winter meant a new season's maker codes, and it meant clean stuff you could eat straight out of the air, and, I mean, Christmas, that wasn't a big deal. I just get something else made out of blizzards by Mom. But winter meant change. Every new winter, things got a bit better. You people don't remember what life used to be like. No one in the city knows what year it is. Do you remember how people used to line up for bread? When we couldn't get anything to grow across half this country? Email burns oil and shits filth into your air? Of course not. And no one cares. Because odds are they're drinking Icelandic spring water and eating Cantonese duck with fresh brain cells out of their maker. Boiling in the irradiating faucets of water to get the crap out of it. Choking on thin, cheap government-issue mycoprotein cakes means nothing to you. Spider remembers when they switched mercury on. He remembers his mom holding him in front of the TV and saying, "Remember this. This is history." He then asks how many even think of the fact that all our energy comes from a planet covered in solar flares. How many of them know that snow used to burn? And he's promptly pelted by a bunch of snowballs. Adding, winter by winter that changed. The world got better. And when the world still wasn't good enough, when things were still messed up, when I got sick of the taste and texture of lizard food and lizard playthings and lizard underpants, there was always next winter to look forward to. And God knows I'm hoping this winter does the trick. I keep watching the news to see if half the cities have been accidentally sterilized in the night. Midnight TV vigils, just in case the president suffers a fatal aircraft toilet accident that chucks his intestines over the city like streamers in a ticker tape parade. That takes me back, We were so poor on the Quay side that on New Year's Eve they had to put on fireworks shows using intestines. Luckily there were a lot of people from New Zealand around, but in the end we used them all up. I remember Lefty Ingpen tried for a similar effect by stuffing puppies in a chipping machine. But anyway, he then pulls out a massive 5-barreled gun called the Frostbiter 7K. It's a gun that shoots snowballs. He then adds that apparently it was also the assistants who hit him with the snowballs, so yeah, the Frostbiter 7K is his revenge. Spider then says, "You're probably wondering what the point of all this ugly rambling bullshit is. It's this. The future is inherently a good thing, and we move into it one winter at a time. Things get better one winter at a time. So if you're going to celebrate something, then have a drink on this. The world is, generally and on balance, a better place to live this year than it was last year. For instance, I didn't have this gun last year. Spider Jerusalem, more famous than Jesus, better dressed than Santa Claus, wouldn't be seen down on a cross, and has never been caught up a chimney, so he deserves your money more." And the comic ends with the assistants rolling a cannon towards him, presumably filled with snowballs. And that's the new Scum. All in all, as have been the first few entries in Transmet, good stuff. Anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal will be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long, rock hard, and stay safe, everyone.